In this video, I'm going to do a quick review of linear equations. A linear equation is any equation that can be written in the form ax plus by plus c equals 0, where x is raised to the first power and y is raised to the first power, always. A, b, and c are simply numbers or constants. So an example of a linear equations would be something like 2x plus 3y plus 9 equals 0. Another example would be something like 1/2 x minus 2/3 y, and perhaps the constant is over on the other side of the equation, something like this, equals 8. This would be what is called standard form, where the x and the y is on one side and the constant is on the other side. Standard form. The form that we're really interested in with linear equations is what is called slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is the form y equals m times x plus b. So an example of an equation in slope-intercept form would be something like y equals 3x minus 8, or y equals negative 1/2 x plus 14. Those are both in slope-intercept form. Now the m is the slope. In calculus class, we're going to refer to that as a rate of change. And b in algebra class is what we call the y-intercept. In calculus, we're going to be referring to that as the initial condition. So what happens if we have an equation that is written like this: 2x minus y plus 9 equals 12. And we want to write that in slope-intercept form. Well, slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, one of the primary characteristics of this is that y is isolated on one side of the equation and everything else is on the other. So to do that, I'm simply going to subtract 2x to the other side, and I'm going to subtract 9 to the other side. So I would have minus 2x minus 9 plus the 12. So again, all I did was I took 2x, subtracted it to the right-hand side, took 9, subtracted it to the right-hand side. And of course, we don't want a negative y, so multiplying both sides by a negative 1 and combining similar terms, we would have positive y equals positive 2x, and this negative 9 plus 12 would be a positive 3 times the negative 1 would be minus 3. So what we did was we took an equation and we put it in slope-intercept form. All right, let me give you one to do on your own. Take 5x, let's redo that. 5x minus 3y minus 8 equals 0. Take a moment, solve that for y, write it in slope-intercept form, and then you might want to stop the video and then start the video and see how you did. Okay, assuming that you stop the video and solve this on your own, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 5x and I'm going to subtract it to the other side. I'm going to take the minus 8 and I'm going to add it to the other side. Now we have a negative 3y here, so divide both sides by negative 3, and we end up with a positive y is equal to, now negative 5 divided by negative 3 is a positive 5/3 times x, and 8 divided by negative 3 would be a minus 8/3. And there we have it. Our slope is 5/3, or our rate of change is 5/3, and our y-intercept, or our initial conditions, is negative 8/3. Now in another video, I will be going over how to graph linear equations, but for this video, I just want you to be able to write a linear equation. One last thing that's important to do is if we are given 2 points on a line. So here is a line, and here's a point on the line. Let's just say it is the point 1, 5. And here's another point. Let's just say it is the point 3, 18. We want to find the equation of the line. So to do that, we're going to start by finding the slope. So the slope formula is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So it's the difference between the y values. So that would be 18 minus 5 divided by the difference in the x values. So that would be 3 minus 1. So my slope is going to be 13 halves. The next thing that we want to do is find the slope, the y-intercept. So I'm just going to take the equation y equals mx plus b, and I'm going to substitute in what I know. Now, I have 2 points. This point is a point on the line, and this is a point on the line. We can take either one of these points and substitute the x and the y into this equation. So I'm just going to take this one right here, smaller numbers. So the y value is 5. My slope I calculated to be 13 halves, and the x value is 1 plus b. Now we just need to solve this for b. So 5 is 10 halves equals 13 halves times 1 is 13 halves. Subtracting 13 halves the other side, we get negative 3 halves equals b. So now we know the slope, and now we know the y-intercept. We can now put that together in the form y equals mx plus b and get the linear equation. Y is equal to 13 halves x minus 3 halves. Now, quite often in a calculus class, you're going to see your linear equations written in functional notation. So rather than writing y equals this, we would simply write f of x is equal to 13 halves x minus 3 halves. But it has the same meaning. The y value and the f of x are interchangeable. The function value at any point of x is the y value. All right. I hope this is helpful as a real quick review of linear equations and what you need to know to be successful in a calculus class.